Thanks, Drew. Thanks, JAM. It's awesome to be here. I'm honored to be batting first on the lineup. And what a great lineup it is. And I'm excited to hear everybody's work. My book, Dark Beds, just came out last month in October. So I'll do just, a little sampling from the book and talk a little bit extemporaneously about some of the origins of some of the poems. This is a hiking trail which some of you who live in the area might be familiar with. Velvet Rocks. That August, in a cotton smock, I hoofed up velvet rocks, 40 weeks to the day, full up to my sternum with baby. The elastic band of my bike shorts rode low beneath my belly, panting like a wolfhound, cranky and hot. All I wanted was to get you out of me. So I tramped the granite switchback lined with mosses, arms swinging the humid summer forest, as the sun rose higher above the valley, the river snaking between two states, how matter shifts, firm to yielding, solid to liquid, liquid to air. I'd done all my homework, read all the books, practiced my breathing, my hypno-visualization, swallowed evening primrose oil each morning, slid the golden capsules deep inside where they melted like honey to soften the cervix. And you dropped into the pelvic bowl, sunny side up. Ready or not, here we come. Keep walking, they said. So I hauled you up velvet rocks to the shelter where I'd camped at 19, ate watermelon by firelight, a stone's throw from the tiled hospital, the mechanical bed beaded with sweat, ice cubes on my forehead as if on a skillet, your skull bearing down, your neck arched back. You were navigating the tunnel. We were digging deeper. The summer river green and flecked with amber, suspended between two states of matter, between out and in, between here and there. S-curves of current shifting, alluvial silt filtered through algae. Bright scalpel, your blood, my blood, white curtain drawn tight, bright room like a boat where they hauled you in, thrashing. The first time I read this, my 16-year-old was in the room, and I had to say, I'm sorry for telling your birth story to the audience. My mom died at the end of September, and there's some poems in this book about her long journey with Alzheimer's. And it's a little bittersweet reading these now, but it also feels important. This poem's called Word Finding, and that's one of the first symptoms of the early stages of Alzheimer's, a very debilitating symptom, aphasia, struggling to find words. But this was my way of finding some healing in the midst of the loss. Word finding for my mother. 3 words we must never speak. Do you remember? My question is a stone thrown into the deep waters of our conversation. Anxiety ripples outward, tip of the tip of the tip of the tongue. I'm sorry, I can't. Words slip past, scatter like minnows in a dark lake. Awareness of the sense, but not the syllables. Slippery things moving in reeds and shadows. Don't hunt them. Don't grasp. Cast a net lightly, and the words swim back, finned silver, triumphant, as we row the lake again in our quiet boat, all eyes and hands. All right, I'm going to move forward into a later section of this book. Poets in the room may understand, people in my especially writers I knew, told me to write a novel about some of the content that ended up in Dark Beds. And really the only way that I know how to make sense of my experience in the world is to make poems. So maybe you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. Geography. The house shuddered all day, trying to cast me out, but I would not abandon. The wind, ravenous gusts, arrived in gasps through chinks in the plaster, rattled door jambs, spit snow shards on channels of glare ice. A whole geography took shape in a king bed. Vast continent of quilt where we played nice, turned and hugged the coasts. Caught in a net of half-truths, I thrashed like a landlocked panfish, slick with perilous hunger. And the story paid out its unseen line, thoughts unwinding in dark sheets. Phantom lover, like a barb in the gills, rasping, ruin me, take me, sink me in the water again. I'm going to just keep going in that same theme. This one's called Light Betrayal in August. These are sonnets, so they're all short, 14 lines. You get a little sense. Light Betrayal in August. The night unspooled, slow as a ripple on a reed-choked pond, thick with the unsaid, unsung questions. What if? Why not? What if? How come? Tiny mouths like fish nipping the surface, teasing the moon out of the treetops. Belly down in soft grass, I watched a honeybee burrow into the tip of a foxglove and imagined your hands again, love, indecent at my little twilight tryst. Lace dress, a book, a beer, and a candle. I read and wrote and dozed, but didn't text you here. Promises kept, good girl. Go swallow summer hand over fist. Sweet basil, sun golds, like this, like this. Torched. All the garish flowers opened in midsummer, tiger lilies yawning on the road. Bordello blooms climbing over each other, bee balm, plume poppy, bronzy red and gold. I dragged the couch onto the summer porch in another careless gesture toward desire. You were the one who lit the torch with pollen, diesel, and meadow fire, cooled it with blackberries dripping juice, water pulled from an alpine spring. The cat unfurled herself on the car roof like a black velvet ribbon of longing. The hay lay knit and spun in torrid rows, falling in a blonde mess to the shoulders of the field. You coasted slow as syrup down the edge of my daydream, engine purring, windows down, rusty truck of trouble come back around. All right. You guys are a great audience. Okay, I'm gonna move further. I'm gonna do a November poem because that's where we are now. I write a lot about the seasons because what can you do here, right? So this one's called Staying Married. This book, I wrote it, there's an arc, it's 3 sections, conflict, crisis, resolution. That may or may not be obvious to any readers, but it was my organizing principle. So we've kind of reached the 3rd section. This one's called Staying Married. November drags her wet gray wool scarves across the valley, drapes a shroud of sky over bone branches, twig claws, the last dun remnants of leaves, still clinging to their origins. How can a thing change until it's unrecognizable? Do you remember the verdant tips venturing forth in April, tender explosions suffused with tentative light? All that budding energy untapped and humming, sweet rage of chlorophyll, beholden to no one, our fingers loosely entwined on the path. We thought we were different. We thought we were free. Now I'll trade my truth for your fiction, settle for some light reading or heavy petting, carry my overload into the underworld for winter's duration. Trajectory of the fallen, the last of the orchard cleanup cooked down into thick, sweet, rose pink sauce, no hint of tart, our bodies orbiting the gas blue fires, drawn inexorably to the simmering pot, cinnamon taste of appeasement, atonement, what we've made of it, what we've got. So, let's read a couple more. I have a poem in here about my dog, so if there's any dog aficionados here. It's also about, this book took a really long time to come into the world. It starts with a birth poem, and in this poem, the children who I write about in the first section of the book are now in middle school. So that gives you a sense. I'm sort of a follower of slow writing, like the slow food movement. This is called Dumb Blonde. Why do the girls mock even the puppy, bumbling through snow on big golden paws, so loyal, so trusting, all melty-eyed innocence, waggling her rear like a hula skirt, rolling on her back to expose her belly fur to any stranger in the road. She's eager for a word or a pat, the sheer bliss of stroking, how she closes her eyes and splays her legs, rag doll, baby dog, offering up her softness. Pathetic. They call her dumb blonde, laugh at her groveling, hide her toys, feed her a glob of peanut butter and snort at her tongue, working overtime, compulsive creature lapping its need in quick, pink, humiliating hunger. Dumb blonde, they smirk. Don't insult her, I say. She doesn't know, they protest, loving her up, rubbing her chest, spooning her on the living room rug, their gold hair burrowed in her thick coat. Yes, she's a love sponge, but she'll snap if you make a move for her marrow bone. She knows what she likes, won't hesitate to show it. When the boxer mounts her, she snarls like a jackal, spins and shakes him off, her signature move. Fierce bitch, stubborn bitch, sweet bitch with the fox blonde face, the only one I'll never have to teach. I'm gonna read, I think, 3 more. Actually, I'm gonna read this one that I read this to the crowd at the Brattleboro Literary Festival. There are a lot of New Yorkers, and I think they got a little bit grossed out, but I think I can read this to Vermont and New Hampshire folks who know what it's like to maybe live in an old house. It's called Mice. Who says women are afraid of mice? Today I trapped another 2, one in the basement, one beneath the sink, its neck snapped flat by the metal bar, black eyes bulging in the stench of drains and mouse shit. I wasn't sorry. I marched it dangling to the back field, deposited it in dead November grasses. Back where you belong, buddy, a snack for crows and earthworms. Give them a hole the size of a dime, they'll infiltrate. Before bed, I check my traps again, lock the doors, check the children who are barely children. All the mouse cousins and babies are scrabbling in the walls, feeding all night on cellulose insulation. They're desperate to survive the coming winter. They want what we want, only they have to want it more. Okay. 2 more. This one's another one for my mom. It's called The Long Goodbye, which is another word for Alzheimer's. And her goodbye took about 10 years. And so it's bittersweet to read it. but also important to remember. The long goodbye. My man returns with a canvas bag of salmon, fresh lettuce, green leaves tipped with red ripped into the maple bowl, and the fat rose fillet laid out and rubbed with oil. He wants to talk about transference, and I want to talk about weather, how April snow falls and the flowers survive, the daffodils fold up and shiver through the storm. If there's a lesson here in patience, I don't want to hear it. At my mother's house, all the rugs are gone, so the wheelchair won't catch. Her bare floors are cleaner than they've ever been. No more pets or children, no more clutter. The strange peace of living without language or memory, the house ticking as she nods in the recliner, parting her lips for the spoon of ice cream. Her legs are 2 sticks, crooked in loose leggings. And my girls shoot up to 5.5 feet. And my man sears the salmon, feeds the skin to the dog, serves the pink steaks with salad in the humming mess of our kitchen. How can you savor what you have when it demands so much attention? Ticks are clinging with 2 legs to the grasses, sensing heat and carbon dioxide. They can feel us coming and seek out our skin. They love the warm places, armpits and groins, the crevice behind an ear. Run your fingers everywhere. Danger is the size of a sesame seed, a single brain cell, smaller. If I could, I'd make my mother walk and talk again. But what do I know of magic or redemption? Only the long goodbye. How tired we are of doing our best. Okay, last poem. It's the last poem in the book. Felt good to write. It was kind of that final, the arc coming to completion here. It's called Current. Years passed. I grew too old for danger. No more playing the nymph in the summer forest. No more thrill of secret trysts and haiku, every flower and seed imbued with meaning. Milkweed floating across the valley, aloft on thermals of longing. Goldenrod keeled over in rain, a gesture of surrender. Transgression was once the most interesting thing about me. Now I see we were tediously ordinary, lacking even the courage to destroy our lives. I feel nothing now except pinpricks of curiosity, the warmth and heft of household bonds. The goddess you mistook me for has vanished. Morning fog lifting to reveal the river, indifferent current rolling south to merge with a colder tide. Thank you so much.